GM. We'll be starting shortly. My morning was so busy today, I forgot to even set a reminder for the space. So if you could do me a favor and please press that little purplish bluish button on the bottom right hand side of the screen and retweet this room, and we'll be starting any minute now. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Damn, now my music stopped. Okay, 1 second. I'm trying to play music and it's not letting me play the music anymore. Cool. Give me 1 second, y'all. So just retweet the room if you can. And I'm about to finish preparing. This is a lack of preparation on my end, but more so a sign of a thriving community. I had a phone call. I was on the ENS Latino show. I was on Ron's ENS Maxi show. And I just completely forgot about my own show, right? I guess that's a good sign of the community, a bad thing for me, but I'll be right back. All right. Thank you guys for being patient. We're just going to go ahead and get this thing started. I was going to try to find some music to play since I screwed that up. But it's fine. It's perfectly fine. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel good, I look good, and I host good. This is going to be another good episode of ENS Updates morning show because you guys are giving me the content to talk. The community is giving me the content to talk about things that we could talk about. Right. Yesterday was phenomenal. The show went a little bit over time for the first time in a long time. And that sparked a trickle effect where today's space might be better than yesterday's space. And we know the whole thing going on right now about the Dow and ENS Ferry and unlimited funds being used. Just to recap, I'm going to give you guys a recap. The conversation of discussion is a proposal that got put out where the ENS Ferry is going to get funded uh, about 200K, I believe, to pretty much buy names off of premium for, I guess, brands and celebrities and things like that. And that money goes back into the Dow. And there's just a whole entire debate as to, is that ethical? Is that the right way to go about it? There's no guidelines. What rules are they following? Why are they competing against us? So forth and so on. From there, just led a trickle effect of a whole bunch of shit. And before I get to that, I want to start with some positive news, though. From Blockworks, more and more brands are entering the Web3 space. Every brand will be a Web3 brand in the future. And the way I look at this is as simple as this. This is, to me, is like probably an article in 1996 that probably said more and more brands are 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 getting websites. Right? Imagine seeing an article back then saying more and more brands are getting websites. Every brand in the future is going to have a website. That's how I look at this. Every brand is going to, some of the brands on here is Playboy, Nike, Diesel, Reddit, Coca-Cola, Gucci, FIFA, Pepsi, Adidas, Porsche, Vogue, Atari, so Lamborghini. So some pretty big names. Are all into Web3, getting into Web3. The future is Web3. The future is, I'm just going to use the word blockchain. The future is blockchain. It's inevitable. There's nothing you could do about it. There's nothing the old lady down the street could do about it. There's nothing nobody could do about it. It is the evolution of tech. The future is AI and blockchain, believe it or not. And that's why I'm going so hard and dedicating such a huge amount of time of my life into this right now. When I could be doing a lot of other things, I say, no, 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 no. Wait a minute here. There's something happening. There's something going on. I still can't quite put my finger on it because I'm not a genie and I can't predict the future. But what I can see is the clues being left that every company, every mom and pop shop, every major brand, every individual human being who uses the internet is going to be involved in the blockchain one way or another. And that's why I'm so obsessed with the potential of ENS. But we probably could never, and that is, let me make it very clear, that is strictly potential of ENS, right? I'm gonna keep it like that. It's not guaranteed that ENS makes it. There is no guarantee in that. ENS has a significant lead over its competitors, but that's if the platform doesn't self-destruct itself, right? So let's dive a little bit into what I mean by that, starting with the co-founder, Nick.eth. Said this, and this trickled the biggest trickle effect known to man that I seen on Twitter so much. He says, so much for the fuss around the ENS ferry proposal amounts to why isn't the DAO paying squatters or at least letting them extort businesses and celebrities without getting in the way? Question mark. I feel those people never got the point of ENS was always to get names into the hands of people who will use them over those who will speculate with them or attempt to resell them at a profit. This is particularly true when it comes to names with one natural owner. Anyone considering buying names that clearly identify a trademark or notable individual might want to remember too that in such a situation, the buyer holds all the cards. It's I don't know what that says, and as such, the buyer gets to set the price. I'm gonna get to the point of this. Nick Johnson. I'm gonna get to the point of this, Nick Johnson. And just I'm before I get to that point of Nick Johnson, this is a tweet from Not.eth, aka 5067. He says, is it just me or does Nick Johnson have a tendency to villainize the whole ENS community as a way to defend proposals that the community is rightfully cautious of and deserving of more clarity? Listen, I don't personally think we who are early, we who are speculators, we who have granted the DAO, when I say we, I mean literally all the early adopters and speculators who are here right now buying names off a premium, spending thousands of dollars trading ENS domains, spending thousands of dollars re-register, some people millions, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars extending domain names, putting funds into the DAO to allow the DAO to continue to be a thriving ecosystem. That is all because of speculators and quote unquote squatters. So, yes, there is a fine line between, hey, we want to grow this protocol and we have to put some of these names into some of these bigger brands. There's a fine line in saying that, and then a fine line in shitting on everybody who got the protocol to where it is today, aka speculators and squatters, right? Because that's a lot of what I'm getting right now. I'm getting more so the vibes of you guys aren't good. We could better manage this. We could better take care of this. And we're going to do that. And we're going to put the power in our own hands as compared to saying, you know what? We are where we are for, we got to where we got to in the past 5 years, primarily because of speculators. Not to say that it would not have happened, but just look at this past summer. Look at the DGens. Look at what the DGens literally took ENS from 1 million to 2 million names registered. You know how much revenue that was for the DAO? They did that within what, 2 to 3 months? It was quick. It was speculators. So although we could say what we want about DGens and speculators and squatters, they helped the protocol in these early stages when celebrities and these big brands don't care about ENS and probably will not use ENS anytime soon. Right. So I'm gonna keep on going forward with this right here. It says, so he responds to somebody, and this is a completely different topic that needs to be discussed as well. And then, by the way, this is not to criticize Nick Johnson by any means or stretch of the imagination. I love Nick. I am just simply stating my opinion on an open mic like anybody else in the community can do because I have a voice and nobody's going to take my voice away from me. Not Nick, not Vitalik, not anybody. So Nick says here, so if say the N word, it's crazy that he even uses it's listen. You know why this is so crazy? He even used this example out of every example he used because it's offensive to me. It's offensive to me because I am a black individual. If you guys haven't noticed or didn't know, right? I am a black individual, right? So for him to even use this example is absurd, but that's beyond the point. That's literally beyond the point. It's not that deep. But it's just crazy that this is the particular example he used out of any example he could have used. So he says, where is that? I can't even find the tweet anymore. Is Twitter rugging me? Well, anyway, I just get to the point. So if say the N word expired, you wouldn't support the Dow buying it to keep it off the market. Why not? Me personally, no. Me personally, this is personal opinion. I don't care for the Dow to go and try to make the effort to try to buy that word to keep it off the market, right? And the reason for that is several things. It's several things. One, it becomes the Dow getting into politics, right? I prefer public initiatives like what Kels the Great was doing of the Burn Wallet and individuals, and shout out to 00 Coins who funded that initiative, of him going in and kind of trying to attack that market. I personally would rather see the Dow be completely neutral and completely stay out of that, because there's always going to be a new racist, harmful, offensive word that comes out. And even if you take that word off the market because you want to play this political role to say that word is not a good word, somebody else is a new word. New words are created every single day in the human language, especially the English language, right? So I think it's an extremely, extremely, extremely slippery slope for the Dow to now say that word's offensive, this word's offensive, we're going to buy this word, we're going to buy. In my opinion, the Dow should 100% just stay out of words. It went from brands and celebrities to potentially buying offensive words and racist words, and that word part I think is extremely offensive. I think that should be left to individuals in private businesses like the Public Burn Project, and not where Nick Johnson and the Dow, who has all types of people from all types of background and cultures, are now saying this is offensive or not, because you could potentially offend two sides of the spectrum. And this is a public protocol that I don't think you should offend any side of the spectrum here, right? Because you might have a side of people, just using this wording, and we're being straight up and honest here, right? You might have a side of people that say, oh, that's a great idea to remove that word. And then there's always the other side that says, why the hell is he removing that word? Right. And it just becomes this political mess that I don't think the Dow itself should focus on. But that's just my point of view on that particular subject. Now, the brands and celebrities, I'm totally down for. Words, please stay out of that. In my personal opinion, from Matt Garcia, I'm a proud ENS squatter. I am a proud ENS squatter myself. And from Enzo 305, when MFs call you a squatter, but they don't realize who really runs this machine every day. Squatters over celebs. And everybody who's listening here right now is probably a squatter in some sort of way.
Can you differentiate between a squatter and a domainer?
I guess that is a good question. What I think a squatter, in my opinion, because I think it's different opinion or guess, is somebody who's holding. You know what? I guess the word squatter shouldn't even be used. I think I'm using them interchangeably.
No, it can. Yeah, it can be used. You're just using it
Yeah, I'm
interchangeably.
using it interchangeably. The way I was using, I guess I'm using it more so as domainer, but there are squatters in this community that I don't think should be penalized, and I don't think should be shunned or kicked.
They aren't being penalized though, right?
They aren't being penalized. They're being criticized. They're being criticized. and I could pull up the tweets. By
Yes, but not
not
penalized.
penalized, but criticized.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with the
Yeah,
criticism. I can take criticism. That's okay.
yeah, okay. Squatters should not be criticized by the DAO for playing a role in the evolution of what ENS is today.
Squatters are funding their pockets too, by the way. I bet they won't ever refund any of the money.
Yeah, they'll definitely take the money. They'll definitely give you the money back, I'm sure, because we'd rather have like people. I mean, if yeah, the difference between a squatter and a domainer is that, and yeah, Nick Johnson uses them interchangeably, which sucks, and that's why he's upset with me because we thought about this because I was like, hey, stop shitting on the domainers, stop comparing domainers to squatters because I'm a domainer. I'm building this industry. I'm finding market fit. I'm building domain names. I'm consulting with people that are buying ENS and building domain names. I'm literally doing all the work. And then him just thinking a domainer is a squatter. A squatter is someone, and yeah, if you want to be a squatter, that's your game. And I think you can be criticized. I think you should be able to have big boy pants and be able to accept that criticism.
So
But
what's a squatter to you, Gary? What is your somebody
the,
that go
so
ahead?
there's a spectrum of what is a squatter. On one end of the spectrum of what a squatter is, it's someone that purchases the names of specific people and brands in order to sell those names back to those people, right? They're not people that are buying Apple and Amazon and then, selling it to all the millions of, businesses and people that could possibly use Apple or Amazon. They're not buying Apple and Amazon. They know, oh yeah, Apple could buy this from me, but I'm not buying it just for them, right? It's a generic word. But there's people that purchase, Gary Palmer Jr.eth. And they're like, I'm going to sell this to somebody. I wonder who I'm going to sell it to. There's only one, really person in Web3 that I could possibly sell this to. So on one end of the spectrum, that's what a squatter is. And then that gets worse. That's the good side of being a squatter. It gets worse into someone that does extortion, which is just someone that's like, hey, give me money for this domain name. Otherwise, I'm going to burn it. If you do that, then you're an extortionist, so you're not only a squatter, but you're a squatter and an extortionist. And so, if people want to do that, that's fine. It's like I traditionally haven't really shat on people for doing that, to some degree. I'm sure if you went through my portfolio, I might have a couple names that could be construed as squatting. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? That's not the problem. The issue is like everybody misrepresenting what the ENS DAO is doing, and just recognizing that. Listen, if you're a squatter, if you're a domainer, whatever the hell you are, if you're in the ENS, if you want to make more money, then you want more of these celebrities, more of these influencers, more people that to know about ENS and use ENS. Like the more people that we increase on the Metcalfe's law, the network effect, the more all of your your shittiest name will be worth more money if we get more people in.
Agreed. And that is an undeniable statement. I think the big thing here is more so how Nick is villainizing, like kind of how you said, combining domainers and squatters, and it just seems a little offensive to a community that is very passionate. And I agree.
I've
With
been fighting, so I just gotta say, man,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm not emotional, but I'm on the edge of emotion, simply because I have been fighting and bringing up these questions and concerns and these definitions with Nick and the ENS DAO years before there was ever an ENS DAO, right? I'm sure. I mean, especially if you go into the Discord forum, if you go into the Twitter, you guys know me, how we walk into a conversation. Like there are just like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tweets of me going back and forth, just like Google my name and the word squatter, and me being like, yo, there's a difference between these two things. Domainers are an important constituency. We're a constituency, right? Like in Bitcoin, you have miners, you have exchanges, right? There's like all these groups of people. You have node operators. And here we have the DAO, we have the integrators, we have the users, but you also have the domainers. We're a vital constituency. What do? We find market fit, right? That's very important. How you need like a marketing and PR wing. Those are the domainers. Like we are the marketing department. So we find market fit. We actually build our domain names, and we do consulting, helping other people learn about this. And so, I mean, if you look at .com, like we've already been through this. Like domainers are an important group, and it's okay that they're making money, right? and I'm not against, squatters, for the most part. I'm against extortion. But I'm not against squatters. It's like there are, I mean, yeah, there's like probably like 100 or 1,000 Gary Palmer Juniors in this world. I'm not the only one, you know. But if you like buy Gary Palmer Jr. and then you're trying to get a lot of money out of it because I have an ape and I'm in Web3 and you guys think I'm rich and you want to sell it to me for 10 Ethereum. I mean, you could piss off. You know what I mean? I'll go buy a derivative and not be happy and be a salty ENS user. And I'm sick and tired of us making salty ENS users and just stabbing ourselves in the foot because we, and there are valid concerns with the slippery slope stuff. So it's like, again, I'm trying to walk the line because there are no sides. We're one group of people and we all have different opinions, and there's lots of important points that we're all bringing up. But I think like we're focusing, we're not gravitating toward what the parts are that we can change in meaningful ways.
Yeah, and before I go on to the next speaker, I think, Gary, I think you make a great point of clarity here. Big difference. This is a point of clarity to everybody for the show and for the community. Big difference between domainer. There's domainers, there's squatters, and then there's extortion, right? And I think a lot of what this is putting the extortion category over the domain and squatter cap. And shout out to Young SB, who just said he was trying to give a buddy of his a domain name, and the guy was willing to pay for the name, and the guy still didn't want to give it to him. I guess he wanted more money or whatever for his own real life name, right? So that's extortion at that point. So a lot of clarity is being made here, but these are three different things, right? These are 100% different things. I'm going to keep it moving right along. I want to hear everybody's opinion here. This is an open conversation. If you want to join the conversation, please feel free to hop on stage. Verse and Steven, let me go over to Ron and Master, and then we'll spin the block. Ron, go ahead, brother.
Hey, yeah, thanks, Kev, because I've actually got to get off in 5 minutes. So I'll have to listen back over because super important. Yeah, appreciate everyone's thoughts. Really appreciate Gary's thoughts. Gary's probably thought and put more blood, sweat, and tears in this than anybody. But look, hey, I support Nick. I support the DAO. I support everything Gary said. Here's the deal. Would I like to be a little more positive on us, the capitalists, the investors? Because it's not just, by the way, and I want to say this, people don't just speak with their tokens. Whether you have tokens or not, you speak with your time, your money. I guarantee Gary's contributions to this space and Masters are 100x exceed whatever tokens they own or voting on or whatever. But so we all speak, we all vote with our time, our effort, our passion, our building and whatever. But look, I've seen this so many times in my career, whether it's engineering, because I've usually been on the sales and marketing side or management side, but sometimes it's management versus sales. Sometimes it's engineering versus sales. That's it. Nick is a developer and maybe a visionary and whatever. He's not a marketing guy. Maybe doesn't have any appreciation for marketing, whatever. I don't want to see that affected. I think sometimes he made two great points. Kind of offended all of us, but then made a good point. If you're too stupid and it's a specific name, you're going to wind up holding it, right? He did a good and a bad thing in one thing. But look, we'll sort this out. DAOs are a new thing. We're in new territory, uncharted territory. We're all here. I would certainly like to see more support as I get ready to invest millions of dollars of mine and my partner's money into ENS. I'd certainly like to have a more warm, fuzzy feeling than I get with Nick. But then again, I see what he's trying to accomplish, and I'm kind of on the fence, like Master and Gary. This can be a good and a bad thing. There's a slippery slope, and it's also a good thing. And we're back. We'll bang this out. But I appreciate everyone's efforts, and I will listen back as soon as I get out of my meetings. But glad we have this forum, because otherwise I think there'd be a lot of stress. And I really appreciate what we did yesterday. I appreciate everyone Twitter. I really, like I say, am very grateful for Gary's, because I know he's gone to battle, and maybe some people in the DAO hate his freaking guts because, because of what he stood up for us. And whatever. So I appreciate that. I appreciate it. We'll work it out. Let's not get too emotional. I'm still 100% committed to this. We'll work it out. There is different. We just have different. I've seen this a lot. I'll say in my 35 years of doing business, I've seen this a lot, and it's just different. We have different things that are motivating us. We have different mentalities. We're different people. So, yeah, I have to tap out. Thanks for everyone. I will listen to this because I'm sure there's going to be some great alpha, and hopefully we continue this. And the biggest message, I'm glad we have this forum to kind of bang this out and share ideas. Let's be open-minded. Let's not be dogmatic. We'll get through this, and yeah, excited about it. Sorry I have to tap out, but I'll definitely be jumping on the second. Thanks, Kev. Thanks everybody, and
Thank
look
you.
forward to hearing back over this. Talk to you guys later.
And Ron, Nick.eth is a genius. So he sucks at marketing, in my opinion. We all kind of feel that, but I just got to give him a shout out. ENS would not be ENS without. He's a genius. We do want Nick.
Yeah, and I support him. Yeah, I support him and appreciate it. But yeah, I'm more aligned with. So I agree with whatever Gary says. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this conversation. I'll jump on here in a couple hours and hear what you guys had to say, man. So
yeah,
peace out.
I think peace out, Ron. Thank you, man. I was gonna say real quick before I pass over to Master. I think the big thing with Nick is we greatly appreciate Nick and admire Nick for his work, but I don't think it's more so about a problem with Nick. I think it's more so discussing the delivery of how he's delivering the information he is trying to say. The delivery could be worked on a bit, especially in tweets where we know text is nowhere near as good as a communicator as voice, right? So I'm pretty sure if Nick came on a space and he was communicating his thoughts on a space, because we could hear emotion, right? We could kind of hear voices, we could hear emotion. It'll be a lot different than reading text where we're all kind of interpreting it in our own ways, and it just leaves a lot up for misinterpretation. But yeah, I don't think Nick has any bad intentions. I think it's more so the delivery of what is being said is coming off a little the wrong way to a lot of people in the community. Because if it wasn't coming off the wrong way to the community, a lot of people wouldn't be responding the way they are responding. But let's go over to our co-host, Master. Master, the stage is yours, brother.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, I kind of heard all you guys talking about the recent, this very hot topic. And yeah, I agree with every one of you, to be honest. And at this moment, maybe I can share something about, my conversation with Nick in the past, Nick.eth. And, you know, actually, in this world, there is no, exact right or wrong. There is only for us to do the according or rational things when something happens. So right now we know that Nick, maybe he's not a very good in marketing, maybe he is not open-minded in allowing squatters or allowing or encouraging or expecting name flipping, because he at the beginning he wish ENS can be used by more people, by the people who really need it, or whatsoever. I think it was 10 months or 11 months ago, I raised maybe a proposal in the ENS forum. I said maybe it makes more sense for ENS Lab official team to build a second market, just like OpenSea, to trade for ENS, domains. Because OpenSea, maybe the filter is not so good and looks rare. It was new at that point of time. There wasn't. I don't think ENS.vision is ready. So I think it's risky for any of the ENS user to trade their names on any new platform, because it can be, approving your ENS domain token to any new website which you have no, knowledge. End user have no knowledge whether or not this is secured, this is safe. It is a risky move. So I think it will make most sense if ENS officially can, the official team can build something on that. I wrote maybe a proposal on the forum, and lots of people replied. I think some of people in this space right now also replied on that. But unfortunately, it wasn't in favor. Nick wasn't in favor of that, and one of his reply was something like, I hate seeing names flipping by squatters. I hate seeing speculation on ENS. I hate seeing people making money by flipping ENS names. He said the exact same word like that, which looks crazy to us, right? Because in the .com world, when all the big companies get adopted on the .com, the names will carry more values, and yes, the name's price will get on higher and higher. It doesn't make any sense that all your names are going to the brands, and no people can make a flip on that. That is that just doesn't work. And in an ideal world, I think in the ideal world that Nick expects is that all the names will go to the brand at the very beginning, and there's no squatter, and everyone can enjoy their own name, everyone can have their perfect own ID, so that this will be the most beneficial way to the ENS official team, because that way it can be as much the registration quantity will be super high. But remember, when the registration quantity is high, the price of that name will be up and up, right? So I don't see, there's any disconnected when people making a flip, people making money on by flipping ENS name, and while the other, big brands getting on board to that. I don't see there's any issue on that, but unfortunately, Nick sees this issue. So right now, he thinks maybe because he is leading the DAO team, and then he is leading everything. So he has an opinion. Maybe we should not encourage squatting, so that maybe ENS Ferry should be giving a fund. But that way is really something very interesting. You are. I just see my lawyer friend ENS Punks. He's read, which makes a lot of sense. He says that when you use the company's money to buy the company's own product, that is self stealing. Yes, absolutely, something is wrong, right? And especially when the ENS premium jobs from the Dutch auction starts from 1 million 100 million US dollar, and actually the DAO team can pay that at the first step, and then they will get refund by themselves. It's like we are like a clown, and playing some game with them. And as long as there are some names that ENS DAO team they deem that there is a risky or there's a need, it can be some good faith as they deem, as any of guy from ENS DAO team they deem it is valuable, then yes, they can get it. They can just get it by the first second, and they get a refund, and no one can compete with them. And when we roughly hear something like that, something is wrong, right? But on the other side, I mean, it looks wrong. But at the beginning, I mentioned there is no definite right or wrong in this world. There's only, the right thing to do for us. We want to be rational, regardless of whatever happened. And ENS, I think whoever can raise a proposal in ENS DAO, which is open land, you can raise it. The problem is whether you got enough, the ENS DAO token to vote to get your proposal approved. But the problem is that if your proposal is not if your proposal doesn't make sense and finally it's still passed, then something is wrong with the DAO, and the DAO token will lose value, and the DAO token price will get maybe down, right? It could possibly happen. But let's check on the ENS DAO tokens price in the past maybe 1 week. I don't see a major down or what. It is going up on the other side of the way. Maybe it's because of the whole coin market is getting up, but the money, the funds, the capital in the money in the market is always the smartest. The capital follows the smartest. As imagine if there's there's IBM or like Cisco or like Tesla, there's some bad news happening, like the CEO is publishing something bullshit, and it can make a huge impact on the stock price. But right now, the ENS stock price doesn't have any negative, in the past 7 days, which looks like it may be not the worst. It can be, something wrong. It all doesn't make sense. But for investors, for the DAO coin holders, for the majority of the guys that are holding ENS token, maybe it's fine. So let's do a comparison. One side, ENS founder is someone like Nick. He is very not open. He is very, like a geek. He is not willing to talk. He has his own thoughts. On the other side, let's compare to maybe the founder of like Dot Solana, Dot SOL. I see that some of the the founder he posted something. The most common thing he posted is that there's only like 100 domains remaining in 99 Club. Grab your opportunity. And today's ENS 99 Club price is 20 ETH. Guys, grab your last opportunity. This is a marketing guy, right? And versus Nick, who do you think is more appropriate for leading a project of ENS? Who do you prefer? Who looks like to be a better leader for this project? Unfortunately, to me, maybe Nick still looks okay. If we are comparing maybe ENS project, because Nick is just a Nick. You guys still remember when Vitalik raised something about the recommendation? He shouted about the Haberger tax, which he believed it makes most sense for the domain allocation, and it can be a fair game or whatsoever. But do you guys remember what Nick reacted? Right? He didn't give a shit. We always say ENS is strong because he is standing on the giant's shoulder, and he is the ENS is the brother of King, who is a Ethereum. And right now, when the King is raising something, and Nick didn't give a shit, he didn't agree with that, and he keeps replying, just like replying to you guys. At that point of time, he replying to Vitalik and telling why he wasn't in favor of the Haberger tax from his perspective, right? It's the same thing. So guys, so sometimes it doesn't look right. It's fine, but I mean, Nick is Nick. He is always here. I know Nick too much. That's why I already surrender. I stopped arguing with him every single time, because I know it's very limited to change on him. And sometimes it's just like this. If you don't like this proposal, okay, let's grab more ENS DAO token and vote against. Because if you guys delegate your votes to me, I will also vote against for sure. It doesn't make sense. But unfortunately, maybe the top 5 or top 10 token owner, the delegator, they won't vote against. Or I see only maybe Brentley will have his own opinion, but the rest maybe is lots of the top ENS delegates, they just don't vote. They will skip one and another. Only couple that will participate. That's how it works. That's how I think at this point of time. Because if you guys are worried or concerned whether or not this will change the fate of ENS, maybe it will change. But to me, I'd prefer to be more rational and check the token price first and check my names. Because what I know is name wrapper is going out any minute, and what I know is I won't never get my names expired or released. I won't give those damn tout team this opportunity to buy it, because they are cheating. Just like any prize that's left in this world will be sniped by the DAO team. The DAO team has like an advantage when sniping these names, which I think it doesn't make sense. You can say Amazon, it belongs to a company. Okay, I get it. And Nick even said that when Niggle, the Niggle.eth is expired, they should get it. I don't see this is making any sense. But guys, I strongly suggest let us just forget about it. He is just like this. If you guys have any tokens, just vote against. That's all we can do. And yeah, let's focus on the real deal, which is name wrapper, which is check your names and making ads, advertisement on your names. Try to get a good time, or put some IPFS content on your name. Do some real deals, because I believe it will be difficult to change their mind. And the DAO team, I see a lot of DAO teams when they are managing the proposals or whatsoever. I'm a foreigner. I have a hard time communicating with them. Anyway, but always being rational, to ourselves. Only ourselves can be responsible for ourselves and our bag, our wallet, our family, right? So we should not, we can always say, I'm not happy with this guy. I'm not happy with this proposal. I can even, curse him. I wish you all the bad luck for the year, right? But what next? We should, do something which is, really have some value. Otherwise, we are wasting our time. Everyone only have 24 hours a day, so let's focus on some real deal and make all the step 1, step 2, or what we have planned or to realize. I think that's my attitude. That's my opinion. Yeah, thanks much, guys. Have a great day.
Boom, 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 boom. Level-headed, calm, and collective. Love your perspective, Master. It just brings it back to the basics, right? Just bring it back to the basic. Hey, y'all, get more tokens and let's change it. Nick is Nick. There's no changing him. And I agree with what Master said. We see Nick and Vitalik exchange the same way, right? We seen them so, and we were all cheering for him and rooting for him and saying, "Hey, Nick, thank you for standing up for us after this absurdness that Vitalik is trying to represent." So, good point there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is ENS Updates. We do this show every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss all things crypto, Web3 related with a focus on ENS. If you haven't already retweeted this space, please retweet the space. We have a ton of people with their hand up. We're going to get to everybody. I just asked that we're approaching the last 45 minutes of the show. Please be conscious of time. There's a lot of people requesting to speak. There's a lot of people who have their hand up to speak. And that being said, I'm going to go over to our guy, NFT Verse. The stage is yours, brother.
GM Kev, GM Master, thank you guys for co-hosting the ENS Update show, man. These are the conversations that I love. So shout out Gary P, Enzo, Stephen Miller in here. My guy Punks 8373 1289 Echelon. My guy Flossin. First of all, let me kind of kick it off like this because I have a few things to unpack, but I'm not going to take a lot of time, right? So just kind of want to touch on a couple of things. First of all, let me show some love to somebody in this community that had the thought and the idea behind chasing down what I would say offensive words and burning them into the ethers, right? That was Kills the Great, right? Kills the Great had the idea, and he sparked this idea of chasing down offensive words and funding those burns so we could keep them out of Web3. That was something that he thought about and he had a passion for, and that's what he did. He didn't ask anybody for anything in the beginning. He asked, for people to help support him and extend those domains out as far as possible. And 00 came in early on and was one of the first people to help Kills the Great fund the public burn. That is a concept that has already been here, right? But it never was truly acknowledged by the whole entire community, so to speak, right? It was never really embraced by the whole entire community. So I don't like when people gloss over ideas and concepts that somebody has already come up with and then try to make light of it as if they're trying to do something that had not been attempted before, right? So I want to show love to my guy Kills the Great. Show love to 00 for funding that. And guess what? It's still in existence if you want to take part in it. It's still in existence if you want to donate to it. It's still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. Kills the Great is still doing that. So guess what? Tap in with him if you want to do that. If you want to clear some of the ethos out here, like Kills the Great used to say, clean up the ethos, right? Tap in with him. He already has a plan. He already has a roadmap. He already has all that stuff already in place. Why reinvent the wheel? Why reinvent the wheel, man, when it's already there? Okay, I just wanted to show him some love, to show Zero some love for that, man. These guys have been doing this, man, months ago, man. Open your eyes, man. Tap into people and open your eyes a little bit, right? Number two, I wanted to touch on, and some keywords have been thrown out today. One of the keywords is clarity. Another one of the keywords is squatters. So I want to touch on clarity and squatters, right? How do you clarify what a squatter is? How do you define that? Using that word in broad text and conversation, it leads people to assume certain things. But if you provide data behind it and you provide metrics and data behind it, and you're able to put out percentages surrounding, well, how are squatters defined, right? And what are the data and statistics behind squatters that have been identified in the ENS ecosystem? And what percentage of wallets who have been defined as squatters hold those domains that have been defined as squatted domains? Have we ever thought about that instead of using the word so broadly? Have we ever thought about narrowing it down? We got so much technology out here. Pull a query. Query the ecosystem based on the definition and criteria and behind what a squatter is. Pull the data. Let's see the data. Let's talk about the data, and then we can drill down to what truly, how many percentage of wallets out there are deemed squatter. Is a squatter a first name and last name.eth that some celebrity holds, or is it the first name of that celebrity.eth? Or is it just the last name of that celebrity name.eth? Or is it a derivative? Like, how do you define that? And if you define it, you need to have numbers and metrics behind it. And if you're going to define that, then you might need to put it in the Constitution. You might need an amendment. We do have a Constitution, right? When you start changing stuff and you start, making judgment calls and things like that, guess what that means? That means you need amendments of your Constitution that you created for ownership. That means that you need to amend something. But guess what? When amendments happen, guess what you're doing? You're doing IRL stuff. You're doing legislation stuff that we already deal with already on a daily basis. But you claim the mission statement was ownership. Come on, man. Like, which path are we gonna go here, right? Which path are we gonna take here? I think that's what we got to understand is what path we're gonna take. What if I use the broad statement of manipulator? How broad if I just put out manipulator? What if I said that I believe that the Tao is manipulating? What if I said that? I'm just saying, what if? These are what if things, right? What if I said, I believe there's manipulation going on, and I believe the community should vote where all delegates should dox their wallets? Hmm. Interesting, huh? It's an interesting concept to think about, huh? You know what it does? It takes you back to the real world when certain politicians and things have to dox their stuff, right or wrong, right? You want to get so close to centralization, right? Well, if you're going to go that route, man, there's a whole lot of things you got to open up if you want to become centralized and try to bring that into the picture, right? What if I said every delegate needed to dox their wallet and we needed to vote on it? I don't have the power to say it's a judgment call, right? But if the community voted on it, man, could you imagine what would come up from that? That's scary, huh? It's a little scary concept to think about, right? Doxing all your wallets to hold a position. Be careful what you wish for.
Hey, Verts, this is why they don't do spaces, though, community spaces, because they don't want these type of questions asked. But you know what? They're going to have to answer them eventually.
I'm just going to say this, man. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what direction you decide to move in. Be careful what words you use and utilize as examples, right? Like the word he used, the N word, like you use that word as an example of all the words you could have used, of all the different type of delivery methods you could have taken. You use that because you know it's a trigger word in society.
Wasn't that the whole point? I mean, that was the point to
Gary,
the
Gary,
example.
Gary, Gary, that's not in it. You can't speak on that right now, Gary. Okay? That's why I tell people to be careful about when they speak and how they speak on things if you don't understand it. Be careful, man. That's all I'm saying. You got to be careful. Don't be so quick to jump up and say something about something, right? There's other examples that could have been used, or maybe not an example of all at all. Maybe it could have just been a better delivery, Gary, is what I'm saying. Be careful, man, about how you guys approach things and how you say things. Think for a minute and don't just be so reactive so quickly. But Kev, that's all I wanted to say, man. Shout out to the whole entire community for tapping in. this is important that we have conversations like this. But I just want to give everybody a few things to think about when we start using words and terminology, and how in using them in a broad text and a broad perspective, how they can open up certain things that you have to think about that can easily be turned around and gone in the other direction. So I just want to come up today and just kind of share that with you guys. That's all. I appreciate it, Kev.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate your thoughts, Verse. Well said. Well said. We'll keep it moving right along as we approach about the final 30 minutes of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want you guys to be cautious of time when you are speaking. We have a lot of people with their hand up, and I want to get through everybody here today. Let's go over to our guy, Stephen Miller. The stage is yours, brother.
GM squatters, domainers, imposters, and all sorts. I am so glad to see you in the space this morning because we're having meaning conversations again. I really wanted to do my stretches this morning before I got on this conversation because I was gonna be moving around like a boxer. I knew it. But I'm gonna try and dodge and try not to offend too many of the folks out there with what I'm about to say, because frankly, I think that friendships are about to deepen on what I'm about to say, and some people are going to be pretty, irritated by what I'm about to say. So hopefully we all come out on the other side of this a little bit more positive. I'm not here to talk about the technology side of it. I'm not here to talk about really the ENS element. I'm here to really talk about communication. Because at the end of the day, when it really all boils down, leadership is tested by communication. What you see out of your leaders and how far they go is tested by. When we talk about phone numbers calling me in the middle of trying to make a goddamn point, that's what happens, right? Communication gets interrupted. Just kidding. All right, back up. So what I was driving toward was this. Communication is driven by being in touch. And I have seen it not just once, I've seen it probably 10, 12, 15 times now. Not just like in this specific instance, but with organizations that are developer led. And I'm not trying to take a direct shot here, right? I'm not saying that this is the case in all developers. I'm saying, and I'm also not making an excuse, right? Let's not get that twisted either. I'm not making an excuse for the way that he communicated. Communication itself is not you cannot use any of that as an excuse. Communication is a responsibility. You have a responsibility to communicate with your community in a way that they are going to receive that information in the right way. I do not believe for a second that this guy is thinking about that type of stuff. I don't think that any organization that I've seen in the last 6 months try to communicate effectively has done an effective job in this space because they're thinking about it from a dev angle. And they don't consider all those outside vectors. It's just frequently missed. But what does that ultimately mean of your brand, right? Because communication then leads to and informs your brand and the way that your community views your brand. I hope it doesn't come back on ENS, but unfortunately, I think Nick is still very much so related, right? People view Nick as ENS. ENS is viewed per Nick in a lot of different ways. But we've seen leaders in this community in the past, without saying their names, say some really ignorant shit. And how did it all boil down? I'm not saying that this is that example, right? This is very different. However, we do need to be aware that communication has to be a priority. And we need to hold our leaders accountable for how they communicate. If we're not going to do that, we're not going to be an effective community. Beyond that, if we're not going to take time to be thoughtful and have the conversations that we're having here today, we're not going to make the right decisions as a community. And to Flossen's point, if our leaders are not going to be part of the public discourse, why would the public continue to allow them to lead them? I'm just putting the thought out there. I'm not trying to like say that one way or another, this is a Nick problem. I'm saying that this is a communication problem. This is a connectedness problem. This is a problem with being in touch. At the end of the day, it's not like we can all say that like this is the most decentralized organization. Organizations are like a sliding scale of how decentralized they are. But what I was hearing across the last 24 to 48 indicate to me that like we need to have a real like community powwow over like how decentralized do we want this to be. That's kind of where I'm at with it, and I think that ultimately it comes down to being aware. You guys are doing your part today by being in this space in ENS updates. If your friends are not in this space right now, tell them to get their ass in the space, because being informed and being a part of the conversation is what allows you to stay informed in your decision making. It just there's so many little like bits and pieces of this that really boil down to communication. So I hope that at the very least you guys think about that going forward into the day. Communicate effectively, and look, if you are, I hate to bring it back to this, but like if you are a domainer or you are a squatter or you don't want to be labeled as somebody who is what's the word that Gary used earlier? Yes,
Extortionist,
there we go. An
squatter.
extortionist. If you don't want to be labeled as an extortionist and you have names that you want to, move before people label you that way, come to the ENS Shark Tank, 5 p.m. Eastern time today. Hope you guys have a great day. See you then.
Definitely. And Steven, go ahead and pin the Shark Tank up to the top, brother. Yeah, I think it's important that you pin that up to the top. I think that's an important show for our ecosystem. And yeah. So go ahead and pin that to the top. If you guys haven't attended the Shark Tank, it's a great show. And definitely attend it later on. Let's keep the show moving right along here as we approach the last 30 minutes of the show. Let's go right along over to, let's go 8376. The stage is yours, brother.
Whoa, this is me, 73. I will go super fast. Where's my name wrapper? Yeah, we're discussing right now about giving out money to some domains in premium. Where's the chance for the little man out here? Yeah, the cards are already given out. Yeah, the like 80-90% of the grails are already in the diamond hands. And I'm a little man, and I don't have the money to put out like one of these grails out here in these days. And if now my game premium pickup is over too by this, then yeah, I can close my ENS book. And to be honest, this is not the dream I was dreaming before half a year or some longer. I know I'm not that super long in years, that super OG, but yeah, last year, end of last year, Christmas, everything is over. Yeah, and the name wrapper is not there for what I was buying a 3-letter. Yeah, I was hoping and expecting something like this. And I'm telling every time, like maybe the lovely council there has to put more money in professional developers who are doing this stuff out here. Yeah, to bring on for everyone out here a chance to build something on what we've got. And I know we have some kind of utility, but not that super professional utility that we could maybe automatically onboard these huge brands. This was what I was expecting. Yeah, the whole journey over here. And at the end of the day, who's this which name?
Well,
Only 30
I
seconds.
think
Who will decide which domains will get bought? Here it will be there every time a vote again, and at which price and all of this. How decentralized is it at the end of the day? And this is getting, only in my eyes, without being too offensive, because I'm really a proud customer of ENS. Yeah, one of the best council teams out there I'm seeing here in Web3. but this kind of decision is letting me feel like with my political parties and all of this, I'm surrounded. Yeah, and like this crazy word manipulator or something like this fits for me personally very well in a certain way. Yeah, because this is really manipulating the open market and the whole structure I was thinking about. Yeah, hopefully this was short enough. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, 8376, for your thoughts and opinions. Let's keep it moving right along. Let's go over to our guy Floss and Triple Water Gun. The stage is yours, brother.
Yo, GM Kev, GM Master, Verse, Gary, Enzo, Stephen Miller. Man, there's a bunch of people in here. Dope Collector, Work From Home, my guy. ENS Trading Post, what's good, man? Hey, it is Tuesday. You know what that means, right? It is Emoji Shill. So go ahead. I got it pinned up top. The best deals, right, will be featured on the daily deals for ENS Trading Post. That'll be happening 5 p.m. Eastern time today. I'll get to it, man. I know we're running short on time. I was on ENS Latinos earlier today, mentioned some of this as well. So just, man, the Nick comment, right? I don't want to touch on it too much, but how many more examples do we have to have, right? That certain people are in certain positions that they don't deserve to be in. They need to delegate, right, their responsibilities to people who actually have experience in those fields. Can anyone name a company or a franchise, a sporting team that had holes, in their, business model and they actually made it to the championship game or won the championship? I mean, has any made it to, be a publicly traded company? No. So how much longer can we last when there's this many, gaps in the system and the business model, right? Our competitors are gaining ground on us day in and day out, right? Do you think they're in a room just kind of delegating their time over, I don't know, what's going on with the DAO now? Like, what are they after? Celebrity names, businesses, brands? Now it's terminologies that we don't agree with. Well, I mean, why didn't they just fund Kells the
Yes, they're in
Great?
the rooms.
Well, why didn't they just fund Kells the Great? I can tell you why they didn't fund Kells the Great. He's not in their circle. They're not in it for the greater good, in my opinion, right? I mean, or they would have funded them. How do we know that they're not getting kickbacks from someone like Disney when they do expand their Web3 business models? How do we not know? We see it all the time with politicians, right? Didn't we see it with FTX? How do we not know this is going on? So why is it such an issue to get more clarity on everything? How much time allocation is being done to this versus, I don't know, maybe name wrapper, normalization, hiring the right people? I don't know, man. I mean, it's just something that needs to be brought up. And then again, who's going to dictate what's a brand? Nickelodeon has Nick.com. I mean, is Nick's message literally giving brands names to them? I mean, is he willing to give over his name? I don't know. I'm not saying that he should or shouldn't. I'm throwing it out here. Who dictates this, right? I remember what happened in 2020. We were all going to die if you get vaxxed, right? Now we're seeing journalists were paid off to write these fake ass stories for, to cover up the pharmaceutical companies. How do we not know this is happening? I mean, look, you want to make me up to be the bad guy for bringing this up? Make me be the bad guy. I don't care. But it's something we need clarity on, right? And I don't think we will, because again, we don't see them showing up in these spaces or holding community spaces. Why? To me, they're hiding something, or else they would show their face.
This is so crazy. How do you guys not know? How do you not know, Floss, and how the DAO works? How do you not know that they do everything on the Discord forum? How do you know the positions that are there? How do you not know the who gets voted in? How do you have any of these questions? And like, have you ever showed up to even one meeting? Or when's the last time you showed up to a meeting? Because if you showed up, you would have asked this question and you would know, but you don't do shit until like you get inside this room, and you guys don't do any work outside of this room. There's more than an hour and a half a day of shit that we got to do. If you guys want to talk shit about the DAO, show up to the meeting. If you guys want to kick Nick out, if you want to flip Nick out, then you're going to have to like bring up a good case. You got to show up to the discuss forum. You got to bring up a case of your concerns, everything you're saying here. Go write it up nice with ChatGPT, post it in a forum, go have like a serious conversation and get people to like see the light. But like, how can you guys like bitch and complain so much about a decentralized organization and not even participate? It just blows my mind that you guys are like bitching and complaining, but not one person here is taking responsibility.
I mean,
I
there's so many
participate, Gary.
platforms. There's so many platforms, right? I mean, so do I have to get Telegram now too to participate? I mean,
no, you have to
that
have a website. You got to have a computer and type in discuss.ens.domains. It's like, how do you not know the forum? I mean, the forum, man. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I applied before you even told me last night. I already applied.
there's no
but
applying. You like show up and you type in these concerns, or you ask the question, or you say, "Hey, I posted this." It's like the official form. Like everything gets replied to. Oh, it's like yeah, you guys. I know punks. You showed up, you did some meetings, and then you got this made, and you stopped showing up. Or I mean, so now there's this new big thing we're all freaking out about. Like, has anybody like showed up to the forum and posted and asked their questions besides just complaining? You know, I mean, we have good questions, and we're in here arguing about it on Twitter, like expecting like people should show up on Twitter. Fuck Twitter. You know what I mean? That like real work is happening. It's like you guys have. It's like I thought you guys like had jobs in business. How do you guys not know that real work is happening, and how do you not see it? It's because you're not logging in and showing up. Do you guys think I'm on Twitter all day? Do you guys think like I'm just like typing all day? I mean, just because I have access to my phone all day and I have like a super free lifestyle and I'm like, you know, independent. It's like there is like a lot to do. There's a lot of places. I mean, I just don't understand how like some of these questions are being asked. It's like either you're not doing the work or you're just gaslighting people, and it just drives me out of my skin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, hold on. Let me get up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is getting juicy. This is getting juicy. Let's go right along over to ENS Punks. Punks, the stage is yours, brother.
Yo, GM Kev, buenos dias, everybody, or bueno dia if you're down here in Miami. It is Taco Tuesday. Let's not forget the important things in life. You know, sometimes you got to put a little fuel in the tank to keep going. So, look, I went off yesterday. I'm going to go off again today because why not? I've been in those meetings. I've been credited for actually bringing, setting record attendance at the steward meetings. So, yeah, I have been dismayed. And Gary said it yesterday. Oh, you're just mad because they didn't pick you for the kickball team. Well, that's what we're fucking talking about. Yeah, I didn't get picked. I built more than anybody. And I'm not a coder. I'm no techie. And I built more than anybody. Even our guy Satoshi, Dylan. I was building ENS websites before he ever built one. I have hundreds of them. And it's like, go to nick.eth.limo. Does he have an ENS website? No. Go to validator.eth.limo. Does he have an ENS website? No. But they're out there preaching it's about use. Okay, fine, it's about use. I'm using them. I can show you an article. Before the DAO existed, New York Magazine reached out to ENS punks. Like, this is before anybody knew what the hell ENS was. And they interviewed me for an article. And if you read this article, they frame me as there's those words, a squatter, an exploiter. They fully doxed me by name, where I live, the city I live in. How'd they get, it's like, how'd they get my contact information? How'd they know to reach out to me? How is it they contrast Brantley's point of view and then transition to, well, then we've got people like this lawyer in Miami. And that article is out there, so it's just there. You can't not recognize that there's the haves and have-nots. You're never going to balance the power. There's like an unlevel playing field. They've got voting rights that about 7 or 9 people can dictate any given vote. And to Gary's point, like, yeah, go in there. I've gone in there. This very community went in there to support me, and they saw, punks, before you even pitch, just know we're not going to fund you. Okay.
Bingo.
I mean, what the hell are we doing? I mean, Flossin talked about it yesterday about professionalism. And it's like, I don't know what it is. It's fear of relinquishing control to get some actual professionals in there who know what they're doing. And I'll go all day long about trademarks. I mean, ENS itself is trademarked. You give me, I mean, besides like first, last names, you give me a single word, odds are it's trademarked. So again, there's no rule, policy, procedure how this would play out. The is trademarked. The just recently got trademarked by the University of Ohio. So are they going to buy up the? And who is they? Is it Validator? Is it the stewards? Who, because there's no
Have you posted
written.
that question in the forum yet?
I don't need to. They passed the budget. Why would I?
No, because you're asking the question and you're doing conjecture. I'm just asking. You show up so much and you have this really important question. Have you posted that question once in the forum yet?
I have not posted the question in the forum, and
Again,
I'm not going
showing
to.
up.
I mean, again, you tell me the answer. If you don't know the answer, did you vote to pass that budget? And if you did vote to pass that budget, why did you vote to pass it without knowing this information? I mean, we could just go back and forth all day long.
Well,
that's not
yeah.
helpful.
But I can eat that all day long because I voted to abstain on that vote because I didn't have enough information because I was asking questions.
There you go. I mean, that's the point.
Everyone's bitching about Nick.eth. Yeah, Slobo is the one that's running the working group. All right, and it's like if you guys don't like Slobo, then if you guys don't think Slobo's doing a good job right now because he's too busy with like Nifty Chat or whatever, then why don't we like without being dicks, right? Why don't we like pick somebody in this room like ENS punks and say ENS punks should run the ecosystem for the next quarter after next, and then we all like very like respectfully, intelligently. What is it? We go to the delegates. We could see who the top 15 are, and we say, hey, this is our case. We would like punks to represent, and then punks would be in charge, and we would have put them in there. We could do that. That's how it's done. That's how it's done.
But Gary, yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, but again, that's the point. There are the haves and have-nots.
No, we could have done it.
And there's halves of tokens. You have 15,000 tokens delegated to you. No offense. I mean, that's a tremendous amount of tokens. That's about $200,000 worth of tokens. That's substantial, but it's nothing in terms of voting power. Let's face it. You're not even close to being able to put a proposal up for vote. I mean, it's not a knock on
dude,
you.
I am not the Dow, right? Don't put that on me like Gary's not, Gary's only this, right? It's like there's 15 other people, and I absolutely believe that we can absolutely get you or someone that we respect on the nomination. What is that saying that people in politics are paid to do? Where they lobby? Yeah, we can lobby.
Lobbyists.
Thank you. We can lobby the delegates. We can lobby, Slobo and Corey.eth and Brantley and Spencer and there's like I can't name them all. There's a lot of people. We can lobby them and we can say, look at all the stuff that this person has done. Look at all of us that we were supporting him. We want to give him a chance. It's like to say for people to question or put out conjecture that everyone's on the payroll and that they're all taking backroom deals from Disney. I mean, God, I'm a bigger conspiracy theorist than any of you people, and it's just. I don't know. It seems a little irresponsible as opposed to doing the work and pushing the shit forward in the rules that we have.
Before I'll relinquish my time, just two more points. Number one, again, going to this idea of no rules, policies, procedures that were written out. Who determines how these funds will be spent? What kind of name? All that stuff could have been done. Again, I'm not knocking Validator. Validator's done an awesome job. Onboarded hundreds of people, no doubt about it. One of the things I said is, look, you want to make it more palatable. He should highlight his success stories. I do it all the time. Show the community, look, this is why this thing's being funded. I've onboarded X, Y, and Z. But instead, it's like there is no open discussion. Where'd that amount of funding come from? There wasn't an open discussion about it, and there probably should be. So, and I'll just say, look, I appreciate like the idealism. I don't think you're going to be able to lobby Slobo to vote himself out, vote somebody else in, or he doesn't necessarily have to do that.
That's that's not how this works. It's not one person that has the power. All right, it's like all you needed was 10,000 votes to get listed as a delegate, right? So just my vote alone could have made you or not a nominee, a steward nominee is the phrase. And then again, if we don't just all sit in this room and it sounds like you guys are only on like doing ENS work for an hour and a half a day in this room. And it's just crazy because I'm having one-on-one meetings all day long. I'm connecting with people all day long. I am there's like so much shit that I know and that I do. I just assume, I'm like moving so slow. I figure you guys are like crushing it in the background. And you know, it's like,
Well,
yeah, you lobby some people and you get a couple votes. I mean,
I will say this, I will say this though about doing the hour and a half work for the majority of people in this community.
it's an
This room,
important hour and a half.
yeah, no. I just want to say one thing because about that particular point. It's not an attack to you or to attack to them. If it seems like a lot of people, but one, people have full-time jobs here, and ENS is not a full-time job for them, and it's more so them they're just trying to catch updates here. But two, if this room, how much people is in this room right now? This room has 116 people in it that are tuning in and listening to about ENS. But no one from the DAO is here when this room gets more attention, more people on a day-to-day basis than those private rooms from the DAO. So I think it needs to become of, hey, a lot of our community members are living on Twitter Spaces. A lot of our community members are on Twitter.
Lobby the DAO, Kev. Lobby the. Are you sharing your numbers with them? Are you actually writing down your numbers and sharing with them?
I've shared my numbers.
Shared or sharing? Are you posting it in the forum?
Sharing. I've talked to Slobo personally in my DMs.
Yeah. I think I'll establish Slobo's Slobo's the one that should be here. Slobo's the one leading the group. We got to stop like Nick is a voice and Nick is like a huge delegate. And so Nick gets a lot of attention, but Slobo is the one who's leading this. And the question is, where is Slobo? You know, Slobo is the one that got elected.
Good question. Us. Where is Slobo? Somebody find Slobo.
Like the people in the ENS labs, they're working. The people in the DAO, we are the people in the DAO. Okay, stop saying them and stuff. Like, we are the DAO. It's like, if you have an ENS name, you are the DAO, right? And if you're not, then get out of the room, because like, why are you here? I mean, we're trying to affect this world, you know? And it's just like, Slobo is like, there's a working group steward for the ecosystem working group, which is the one that put out this proposal in their line item. And I thought, and maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, Slobo is the one that submitted the proposal, so it should have been him. But yeah, who is that? Who is that steward? Right? It's like, what? Like, yeah, they should be here. They're getting paid by the DAO through our vote.
Agreed. And before we move on, I just want to say, I personally have had I had face-to-face, not face-to-face, video-to-video interaction with Slobo. I have DMs, probably 20 plus DMs with Slobo. So maybe we found the common villain. I'm joking here. But I agree. We have to do more, but also it's I think there needs to be a place met in the middle. If the DAO has a system and people aren't really participating, the numbers aren't as high as it should be, but elsewhere, right here in the community, the numbers are skyrocketing, the numbers are high, there's super high engagement every single day, then the DAO needs, not the DAO, but the representative, aka Slobo, should probably be here more often and hearing what the community is saying, because this space gets way more engagement than those private rooms he has. But I'm gonna keep moving right along because we have a lot more people to go. I want to hear a lot more opinions. Let's go to 1289, Enzo 305, and I really want to hear from 006 shortly after. And by the way, Punks, thank you. I know you probably didn't say what you wanted to say fully, but I got the concept of it. Let's keep it moving right along here, though.
Hey, Kev, real quick, can I get one sentence? Like,
yes,
literally just one. Sure. One of the biggest problems, though, and like I agree with Gary, the biggest problem to me is just that they're, from a communication and a brand perspective, and even community, they're failing to meet their community where they are. Okay, that's just, it's a fundamental fact that at this point, they're not meeting the community where they are. And I agree with you, Gary. I think that the forum is a big deal. You need to participate in it. You need to be over there. You need to have a voice. And if you have a voice, you should be trying to make it heard. But they have an obligation to meet the community where they are organizing, and they're failing to do that.
Stephen, how many accounts are there on Twitter? Are there like a billion? That's why I use Twitter.
I didn't check. I didn't check today, Flossin. I'm sorry. I'll get back to you on that one.
Let's go to 1289. 1289, then we'll go to Enzo 305.
Jam, guys. I see that we are quite animated. It's probably months since we've been this animated, which is great. So it means that we are discussing, and there's something to discuss, which is great. Obviously, as I said yesterday, I alluded, I don't like the precedent. That's the thing that I don't like, the precedent of the circular economy and the slippery slope. We don't know where that goes. But in any case, I was thinking we need to be nuanced about these things, right? Because I don't know if you remember, but Chipotle, they had a lot of interest in that name, but obviously we cannot get a hold of this person, and the name only expires in 2025. So when that comes along, maybe we want the ferry to get that one and put it in their name in their hands. So I think from that angle, it makes sense. Also, it makes sense when Brantley got Elon Musk .eth, right? Obviously, it was not with the funds didn't return back to the DAO, because at that point there was no such thing. So there's a bit of a difference there. But in any case, we would love for Elon to have the name, right? So we think about these things, and I think we need to put it in perspective. Also, as Master was saying, it's pretty much a done deal anyway. So what I'm thinking of is, going forward, we need more details. If this is going to pass, we need details. How is this going to be put in place, and what guardrails should be in place? Because if this will go forward, and we need to understand how things go, and if there's any funky business there. So that's what I'm thinking of. In any case, I just feel that this discussion is very valuable, and I really like that everyone is bringing different opinions, and hopefully this will just grow us and make these growing pains just a stepping stone for something bigger. In any case, as the founding fathers said, opposition between factions is the only way to observe checks and balances, and I think this is just one of the ways.
Well, well said. Well said. 1289. That was without you deserve another bomb for that one. Let's go right over to Enzo 305. The stage is yours, brother.
Hey, good morning, guys. Appreciate the time. I'm going to try to summarize this as fast as I can. I know we're running out of time here. It's been a lot of good discussion now since yesterday, right? I listened to the space on the recording side, and there's a couple of things I want to highlight. One, when you're in a position of authority, I was in a position of authority up until a few months ago. You have to be very careful with your wording. How you speak in a public space, just like Twitter, the way you talk to people that are under you, especially when you're running an organization, right? Because this is what it is. I've been part of an organization for 247 years, the U.S. Army, and I have seen a lot of generals taken down and ousted because of the way they abused their power and authority, or they said something about a soldier, that they shouldn't have said. So with that being said, there's a lot of ways we could have spun this and got feedback from the community. And by now, everybody knows what a squatter is. I lived in Hawaii, where squatting is a big thing. Someone that's occupying a space that they don't own and they're not paying for. I myself have spent thousands of dollars on domains. I extend domains all the time, and I can only speak for myself. And I know other people have spent way more than me. So it wasn't free, right? If I choose to buy an ENS domain versus going and buying a pair of Jordans or a t-shirt or taking my family on vacation, that's my business. That is me trying to invest in something that I see, that might benefit me and my family in the future. And at the same time, I try to bring on more people. That I believe that's a job of a community. Bring people in. That goes back to marketing, right? You market something, you show someone you can help them with this product, and you bring them and make them feel like they're part of the community. So what I'm saying is, and I got nothing against Nick. I don't even know Nick, and I'm not in the DAO. I'm an outsider. I'm an investor in ENS. And what I'm saying is, we just have to know how to word things properly as this thing grows. Because Apple, Amazon, and all these trillion-dollar companies, they didn't become that big by agreeing with every topic. And I'm not saying I'm against it. Obviously, it's going to get voted, but we just have to look at long term and say, okay, the Dow is going to interfere now with this issue. Will they interfere again? For what reasons, right? Because if they're doing it now, they might do it in the future. So I just wanted to highlight a few things. I'm pretty sure this discussion is going to come up again towards the rest of the week. I'll let other people speak as well. But these are the things that bother me. And I'm a guy that has very thick skin. I didn't personally get targeted, but when you call someone a squatter or when you make examples about using the N word and all that, it's just, you don't want to make yourself a target. You learn more from listening than talking, right? So you have to be very specific when you're talking to the mass, when you're talking to the people that are helping your business, that are here every day, keeping the ENS word trending on Twitter, telling their friends about it, their families, and all that. I think we all, whether you have one domain or 1,000, we're all owners in this, and we're all in this community together, to grow. That's all I want to say, guys. I hope everyone have a good day. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Enzo. Very, very well said, brother. Let's go to 006, and then we'll go to our boy Julio.
Hey, 5159. I just wanted to thank you for having me on the space. Can you hear me properly?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Hey, great. Anyway, I want to say great points from everyone, from Master, from Gary, from Enzo. I really like what you had to say just now. And I think that this actually is pretty interesting because about a month back, towards the end of December, I decided I was going to kind of step back from Web3, focus on business, really like put more time into like in real life. And if you notice, I actually sold my Bored Ape. I sold quite a lot of things. I took down my Azuki. I took down my PFP. Just put on a real life photo. I was thinking to myself that like this thing Web3 has kind of overtaken my life. This wasn't really something I really wanted to do. And you're right, 5159, that I think that this space, there's something about it that really we are going for the future. And now I what Master said, that really we should focus our minds and focus our thoughts and our actions onto things that matter rather than things that don't matter. And I think that actually this does matter, which is why I'm back. And the reason why is because the question here is not just a question of like, hey, us being called squatters. The question here is a question of DAO neutrality, number one. I do think so. I do think that this is a legitimate question. I do not think that this is a question that should be easily brushed off. By the very fact that this can be or is easily brushed off, I think that's a big problem. It shows that they are not serious about DAO neutrality. Having such an initiative being passed so fast, and honestly, it was a proposal within a proposal. Sure, I get it. I actually went into the forums. I did do my homework. I did read through the forum and proposals myself. But it really was very, very small. It was a very small piece of the forum, which was very hard to see. And I think that the truth was that when I was talking to a lot of our DAO forum members, yes, on Twitter, I think that the response, honestly, was very flippant and very frivolous. It was, look, this is good for the DAO, this is good for ENS, and, you should just shut up and put up. I think that this morning when I saw what Nick was saying about squatters and everything, that really rankled me. And it rankled me for the very fact that it's the same thing, right? It's like basically we came into this space, or I came into this space reading the Constitution. I have read through the Constitution. And the Constitution says that you're going to protect the namespace, that holders will be respected. But that communication and this particular initiative, frankly, does not give me that confidence. It does not give me the confidence that domain holders, their rights, their property rights, their fundamental property rights are respected. That they themselves as private agents are respected. whether you are a domain, whether you are considered a squatter by a DAO delegate or by a developer, is of moot importance. And the reason why is because it is not their prerogative, it is not their right, it is not their obligation to judge as such, because they are meant to be neutral. So I think that this is more important than we think. I do agree with what Master and Gary is saying. I do agree that we should be more vocal on the forums from now on. And I think that we should vote. That's it from me.
Holders are respected, and to take away anyone's names, they would have to change the contract or fork the contract. This is not affecting anybody who's holding names. Nobody's taking away your names or your guns or anything.
Gary, I get it. I know that. But I think that the truth is
Okay,
that...
I was just checking because you were talking about how the Constitution says that name holders should be respected.
No,
and
of
then
course.
It sounded like
No,
you were
no.
tying it together with the proposal,
issue.
and nobody's names are going to be touched. The biggest concern everybody has in ENS, the biggest attack vector, besides like someone coming in and buying 1 million tokens and being a benevolent god, is the price changing. So price attack is the biggest worry that we have. And if your name is registered for whatever number of years, it would be protected from that too.
Gary, I totally understand that. And I know the issue here. The issue here is that this is a slippery slope. I think that most domainers understand that this is a slippery slope. You start on one angle, you go another angle, you corner off the angles, right? You stop people from scoring on goal, not by getting in front of the guy. You cut them off on the angles. And that's what it seems like is happening. The DAO should be neutral. Nick should be neutral. I respect Nick. I think that he's a visionary, and I don't think he should be kicked out. I don't agree to insulting him. I don't agree to fighting with him. I agree to encouraging him, but encouraging him in the right way, to focus on DAO neutrality and to focus on the tech. Right now, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like to most reasonable players and to most reasonable participants and observers that this is project scope creep. They are moving in a way that doesn't seem comfortable. To me, it looks like and honestly, one thing, like just in terms of politics, I want to say this to, I think it's ENS Punks who said it, that, people trying to get in the forums and speaking here on Twitter. I think there is a point. The point here is that in politics, if you want not to speak to your constituents, you move your capital. And that's what, honestly, a lot of tyrants do. They move their capitals to other places. They don't want to speak to their constituents. They don't want to hear. And I think that, I'm not saying that Nick doesn't want to do that. I'm not saying that DAO doesn't want to hear that. But there's clearly, I think there are kind of interests, like you've alluded to. But back to being sorry for taking the time, guys, but really just being to be effective, like what Master and you have said. I think we should really just, guys who really care, I think we should move to the forums and we should speak up. But I'm not sure how effective that would be. Anyway, thanks, guys. Sorry about it.
Yeah, 100% agree with you, buddy. Sorry for interrupt. And maybe majority of you guys didn't participate in the 2019 short domain auctions, 3 to 6 length characters of the domain auctions, and and more previously 7 digits plus of the names. It's also a bidding. You didn't participate in that. So all the brand names, every names are open. There's no difference in that way, and they even sell Amazon.eth for like 100 ETH. So ENS team officially they take all these ETH at the beginning when the rule has been made clearly. So I think at that point of time they lost the position to name anyone squatter in this game, because you cannot give shout out a rule and let everyone come in. Okay, we participated in, we pay 100 to bid for the Amazon.eth, and we pay for Google.eth, we pay all these, and on the other second we become a squatter. That doesn't make sense. So yeah, I 100% agree. We should shout out, and everyone should go ahead and post something on the forum, make some noisy, and make more people get attention on that. Otherwise, the DAOs, they are doing nothing, unfortunately, man. So, we need to build something. We all need to visit that link of the ENS forum and leave our message and say something like this, and say everything you guys have just been spoken on this space today. Post it on that forum and make our noise and see how they maybe respond. Yeah.
Cool. Let's go right over to Julio. And by the way, thank you, 006. Oh, looks like he left the stage. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, appreciate you, 006. Great points. Always respect your opinions. Let's go right over to my guy Julio. Julio, the stage is yours, brother.
First of all, you can call me by my new pronoun, Kevin, or 5159. I prefer being called by my new pronoun, so I would appreciate if you are considerate next time. But thank you. I think we all agree there is things done by the DAO, by this proposal, that we're not in agreement. The amount of funds, 48% of all the ETH for the semester being given to somebody that's going to compete with our bids. And it's basically obtaining our money to rebuy words from premium, stuff like that. It has no impact to the DAO because it's just infinite money that they can use consistently to just buy words, whatever words they want. It's a slippery slope. Obviously, they're not intending to do anything wrong with it, but the door is open for them to do very subjective things, which kind of defeats the purpose of having this decentralized autonomous organization. We're starting to do a lot of what Stoppable Domain does over there in their land of stoppable domains. Obviously, also with communication, I think it's very important for a leader. Lions are not concerned with the opinions of sheep. And over here, we are sheep, unfortunately, and the lion is over here yelling at us. He's saying words that he shouldn't use. He's doing communications he shouldn't be doing. And frankly, I'm that word that he used, the bigger. I'm a dark-skinned Puerto Rican. I'm scared to use that word. Even write it, type it.
He didn't say the word, did he? I mean, did he say the word?
He typed it. When I'm typing
he typed it. Did he add the vowels, or did he replace the vowels?
So I mean, it doesn't matter, Gary. You kind of read the word. You kind of read the word, right? Like when you saw that word, you read it. Like it came through your mind. You heard that word. I heard a fucking whip in the background. I thought I was seeing Django Unchained for the first time. But that's not the point. The point is you have to be cautious how you express yourself, right? It's not all about replying to every message that comes.
Got it. It's funny because Nick is the wokest mofo I know.
I know, but you won't see me using that word, me, and I'm a dark skin, right? So like, if I'm scared to how I'm gonna represent that word in out there, why should a person like Nick that has no reason to use that as an example? Why is he using it? So it's just a context thing, okay? And then everyone knows that's wrong, but then if we know how things are happening, and I'm going to be the first person that's going to give Gary a pat on the back, because if we know all these things and we're getting mad, it defeats the purpose if we're just bitching about it on Twitter, right? So I think obviously they got a huge airdrop. They have a bunch of tokens. That's okay. There's influential people there. There's DAOs that have a lot of money. That's okay. But if we, instead of us buying, and this is not a knock on any PFP, but if like we spend thousands of dollars buying NFTs for communities, we can buy thousands of dollars on ENS tokens. Imagine how many more people we are. So we are more than them. Yet we want to minimize ourselves and say, hey, we don't have enough tokens. We don't have enough money. Yeah, we don't have enough because we're not accumulating. But if we start accumulating, it's going to compound real quick. And we can have delegates like Gary mentioned. Maybe ENS Punks would be our representative because he goes to all those meetings. Maybe it's Kevin. Maybe it's ENS Latino. Maybe it's Gary Palmer, which at this point I would doubt, right? Based on all the scrutiny he's getting. But, it's just an example of we could put whoever we want up there. And if we just start accumulating tokens, think about it. We spent thousands of dollars just buying PFPs. That could buy you hundreds of tokens. And if 10,000 people buy thousands of tokens, then we're already at 100,000. We can submit proposals. We can ratify, like we could put them through voting. and we would not have this discussion. So to my point is, I understand everything that's been done wrong. I criticize it. I talk about it a lot in my podcast, my spaces, but we can do something. And, it's nice to bitch and vent with your friends, with people that think alike, but we also got to get smart with our mind and with our money. And our money can go a long way if we unify it. And then, we're not no longer the guys yelling fire in a cinema. We're the guys with 50,000 tokens. We're the guys with 100,000 tokens. And now we're at the table, and now we can make change. But if we're like announcing everything we're going to do, how pissed off we are, then it's harder to actually build a plan that's going to defeat these people. Like the biggest battles in history, racism, what happened in World War II, World War I, all these didn't happen in 6 months, didn't happen in a year. It was years of planning that went into that. And then the walls were brought down. So we need to keep hitting at that wall, but be smart about it, right? So let's keep accumulating tokens. Let's identify who can be our delegate, who's going to represent our interests, and start delegating voting power to that person. We are doing it on the ENS Latino side to represent the Latinos, but I encourage anyone here, you could do it too. So yeah, that was my take. I think we can take something from that. It's about getting mad, but also getting smart. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I have some final thoughts before I have to run here. I have a hard stop coming up shortly. Is this. I love hearing from the community. I love the back and forth. I love the different opinions. I love the different perspectives of everybody, of everyone, right? Because that's what it's about. We are all from different cultures, different backgrounds, different thoughts. Some of them are more experienced than others, but it's about being able to openly share your thoughts and opinions in a public space, in a public manner. This is what I would say. I agree. As a community, we need to do more as far as getting involved, right, in the forums and things of that nature, and going to the working group meetings, so forth and so on. But I have to push back to that as well. Well, not push back. I also have another perspective, I would say. I would say the stewards also need to do more in getting involved in meeting the community to where the community is actually congregating at, right? If you're having meetings in this private little building, just using a real life example, and nobody's going there, but the entire community is in the building across the street, then maybe it might be a smart thing to do is to knock on that door and say, hello guys, my name is blank. And I would love for you guys to come over here. And if you guys can't come over here or can't make it over here, this is all the updates and this is what we're doing. And this is how you could get involved, because the community is here. The community is here, right now. But you know who's not here? We know who's not here. And we know who's in this room right now. I want to leave it at that. I just let OX Unlisted. OX Unlisted's been requesting for a while. On OX Unlisted, I have a hard stop in about 3 minutes, but the mic is yours.
Thanks, guys. I was totally ready to walk away from this one, and I'm going to go ahead and just be real fast. I'm one of the assholes that's got one of those names that's probably making a problem. And I want to just get on here and just say that there's a couple things. I do agree with, obviously, voting. I do not agree with throwing names into a burner. I think that's just anti-American, to be honest, and it's not good for anything down the line. And it should be completely unbiased. There should be no intervention ever in any way at all. And that's just my 2 cents. So thank you, guys.
Cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is ENS Updates. We do this show every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss all things Web3 crypto related with a focus on ENS. If you are interested in sponsoring this space, if you are interested, or anybody you know who's interested in sponsoring the space, please feel free to shoot me a DM and we could set something up. By the way, please don't take anything here emotional. Everybody's opinions are their own. This is what community is about, and we're going to continue to have heated discussions because we're all passionate, right? We're all passionate. Nothing here is emotional, and this is a part of the game of a passionate community. That being said, 5159 is out. Hope you guys have a phenomenal Taco Tuesday. See you guys tomorrow, same time, same place, and same love. Peace.